Welcome to another edition of Our City. I hope all of you are enjoying the summer months, and a few things going around the city of Elizabeth this week. On Tuesday, August 2nd at 6 o'clock in the evening, I'm going to join residents from throughout our community celebrating the 33rd annual National Night Out. This event will feature health, safety, security exhibits, free refreshments, many games, demonstrations, some citizen awards, raffles, music, and much more through the evening. This year's festivities will take place at Carteret Park in the city of Elizabeth on Murray Street, Elmore Avenue, and Vine Street. In addition to the celebration, I'm also going to present a proclamation declaring August as Baseball Month in the city of Elizabeth in order to raise awareness about our nation's favorite pastime. So if you need more information, please call 908-820-4238. And on Saturday, August 6th, we're going to attend the Trinity Christian Center's annual health fair, which is a family day at their facility located at 417 Pennington Street. If you need more information concerning these events or any other events, please call our public information office at 908-820-4124. So please stay with us after these messages. We'll be back with more talking about Trinitas, the Eat Right program.
We have some of the finest teachers in the country. And then they graduate. Kane University.
Welcome back to Our City, where I'm pleased to be joined by Ms. Teresa Andrews, who's the Pediatric Health Center Clinical Coordinator for the Trinitas Eat Right program. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
And Ms. Nancy Lessner, the co-founder of Eat Right LLC.
Thank you.
And Dr. Yelena Samopolov, a MD at Trinitas Pediatric Health Center. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
So the first question I always like to ask is, tell me a little bit about yourself. So I want to start with you, Nancy. How long have you been at Trinitas? Or Nancy, something? You're not at Trinitas.
I'm working with Trinitas. I'll explain that to you. My name is Nancy Lessner, and I'm a medical nutritionist in private practice. And my partner and I developed an Eat Right program, which is a series of videos and educational materials geared toward children. Approximately a year ago, I partnered with the Pediatric Center of Trinitas, and we are presenting the videos and the educational materials to the patients of the clinic with the hopes of educating everyone to learn how to eat right.
That's a challenge.
It is indeed. So
do you ladies work with this as well? Teresa, how about you? How long
Yes.
are you at Trinitas?
I'm at Trinitas almost 25 years.
Always worked in the pediatric area?
The first year I did not. I worked in another area of the hospital, but I've been at the Pediatric Health Center since its inception. So
And how long
over
is
20
that?
years,
20
about
years?
22 years, yeah.
And you work with getting kids to eat right in the hospital and elsewhere?
Yes, in the Pediatric Health Center, yes.
And doctor, how long are you?
I joined Trinitas 10 years ago and been working in pediatric clinic, and we enjoy doing this program and educating our patients.
It's fun.
Yes, it is.
So strictly kids though, right?
Yes.
Yes.
How do you get their parents to understand it?
It's quite a challenge, but we know that education starts with the parents because sometimes they don't understand or they need a little bit more information. Very often parents think that kids don't eat right and they don't have enough nutrition, and they try to provide their kids with the best thing, but they still need a little coaching, and education.
So Nancy, I understand over 400 families have been given the Eat Right take-home kits, completed surveys about their eating habits. Can you tell us some of the highlights? And I know before the show you were talking about kind of interacting with the three of you, so maybe we can start off on that subject matter.
yes, well, what we did was when each patient came in, we gave them a video and a series of posters and handouts to help them learn how to make better food choices. And our first goal was to educate them on simply how much sugar is in all of the foods that they eat. The videos are geared to children. Children are in the videos and children are interacting. So we thought the approach might be children relating to children and parents just benefiting from learning some of the things that they really don't know For example, how much sugar is in food. And we started on that, and then we conducted a simple survey. When the patients were handed the material, they were handed a survey, and as they came back to their pediatric visits, we collected the surveys. And some of the surprising results are very positive. We did learn that a great majority of people who received the information did state that they learned a lot and they would make better food choices. So we thought right then and there that's very encouraging, because just the fact that knowledge can be so powerful, that if we give people some information, they then could make a better decision. So that was a very good statistic. One statistic which my colleagues might want to speak to is a lot of the people said although they're drinking less soda, they're drinking more juice. And we were a little concerned about that because juice itself has a lot of sugar in it. So sometimes messages might be a little confusing. People might say, well, juice is better than soda, so I'm going to drink more juice, when in fact juice has a lot of sugar in it. So sometimes that we mean the message comes out and the interpretation is a little bit different.
So according to this, 84% of the participants have juice drinks at home.
Yeah, and that was a surprise. I don't know if they, if there's input that they might see.
Because again, parents think that juice is very healthy for the kids, and when we start to talk about juice, they say, oh, but it's natural juice, or it's like home prepared juice, and we're trying to explain that it still contains a lot of sugar, and it's better to provide kids with more water.
And getting them to drink more water and eat more fruit, which does seem to still be a challenge.
Is there sugar in the fruit?
Well, at least the fruit, it's a measured amount of fruit and there's fiber in it as well. Whereas the juice, there tends to be a very large serving size and then a refill. So you're getting calories and more sugar than if you were to choose a piece of fruit.
So is there a best juice you can drink or not?
It's I would say probably fresh fruit is better.
Fresh fruit.
Because as Nancy mentioned about fiber, because fiber is very important for nutrition. It's very good for digestion and for child development. So it's better to give your kid like fresh fruit instead of juice, even if it's like natural, like fresh prepared juice.
And one of the answers to your question also would be a smaller serving size. One of the things that we...
Is that why when you're in hospital you get this much apple juice?
And that is the right serving size. And that was one of the emphasis even in the education materials provided. We're really trying to focus people on what is a serving size, which is so interesting. A serving size tends to be according to what the individual feels it is. But there are set serving sizes in terms of how much we feed our children and how much we consume ourselves. So really trying to show through the videos how to read a label and interpret what is a serving size. That piece of information has been very valuable.
Teresa, is there soda in the hospital? And is that an option over there?
Well, we're at the outpatient center, so
Right.
we actually don't have any beverages there that we give to the patients.
Okay. So do they come in, do they ask you questions like, should I have juice or should I have soda? Is that a question on some people's minds sometimes?
Oftentimes I will see them with the juice boxes or the children drinking juice in the waiting room or parents providing juice for the children, yes.
So are the juice boxes worse or better than the big, like, bottled juice you find in a supermarket?
Well, we're going to go back to that fundamental how much is it question. 4 ounces.
So it should be labeled
4
now, right?
ounces, yeah, 4 ounces is really a serving size of juice. And most containers are 6 ounces, 8 ounces, 12 ounces.
Do you know anybody that drinks 4 ounces of juice?
I do. and I think when we're looking toward, one of our goals in the pediatric clinic was really trying to be very helpful to people and trying to give, again, information that makes sense. And even if we just can convey pouring a half a glass of juice, that is very valuable because ultimately the idea of preventing obesity is really learning how to eat less. And what we often say in the world of children is a quarter cup of juice, but you can dilute it with water. So if you need volume, you want to dilute the juice because pouring 8, 12, 14 ounces of juice actually is 3-4 serving sizes. And that's way too much to give a child or actually an adult.
So what do moms and dads say to you, Teresa, and the feedback that you've heard from them about the clinic?
I think what I've heard the most is in line with what Nancy is sharing, is that they're shocked at the amount of sugar that is in some of the foods. One of the posters is sugar shockers, and it talks about the content, the teaspoons of sugar. Like, let's say in an 8-ounce glass of grape juice, and it's like 9 teaspoons. I mean, that was a shocker to me. I never imagined that in a small 8 ounces of grape juice, there's like 9-10 teaspoons. So it's almost the equivalent of soda, where we kind of think that soda is so unhealthy because of the sugar content, yet the juice has almost the same. So I think that was something that the parents were very much taken back by, as was I. I really didn't know that there was that much.
Well, I don't drink soda, personally. I haven't had a
Right.
soda in over 3 years, but
That's good.
I do drink Snapples and iced teas. And
Okay.
so that we haven't talked about, they always say the sugar content is low in those things. Some of them,
Well,
not all of them.
Well, that would be a challenge for you to look at your label, look at the back of the label, and
Right.
look where it says sugar and see what it is. Now,
And how many sugars in a 12-ounce bottle is too
how many?
high? How many, what, the grams?
Well, you really want to be as little as possible,
Right.
and at least in the single digits. In other words, once you're getting to 10, 12, 14 grams of sugar, you're over the top.
But if it says diet, does that mean
Oh, well,
there's no sugar?
diet is a different subject, because diet, yes, there's no sugar, but we're talking about a lot of chemicals and artificial sugar. Now, in the world of children, we don't want that for children.
Diet beverages usually they don't say there is no sugar in there, but there are other artificial sweeteners, so which not really healthy for the
And
kids.
certainly not for children.
See.
And soda also has a lot of caffeine in there.
Correct.
And caffeine is like stimulant.
I think you just need to drink beer, scotch, and wine and solve this problem.
Probably uniform occasionally.
Probably not in the pediatric clinic.
That's probably not a good idea. I know.
not for our
So in the survey, 34% said they have ice cream, cookies, and cake at home. I personally think that's low, 34%. I was wondering, they're buying these types of foods at corner stores, schools. 34%, that doesn't seem too high.
I was surprised at that also. And again, in my life, I interview people all day long about what they eat. So the fact that people revealed, only 34% revealed that they have those in their home was on one hand positive, because maybe they are not spending their food budget in the home on non-nutritive food. But on the other hand, when we look at the statistics in the clinic of the trend of childhood obesity, diabetes, all kinds of things that we're now seeing in children, it makes me wonder, are they maybe not buying them on their food budget at home, but getting them on the street? Be it the corner store, be it the 7-Eleven, be it in the liquid drinks that they take, or the ball field, or someplace else. I do think the consumption is greater than 34%, but it might be to our favor that they're not spending their family budget on that.
You think they just didn't want to answer that question, knowing where the
I think-
survey was going to?
I thought about that as well.
It could be statistical bias
Yes.
over there too.
Yeah, it had to be. Because I'd be like, they want to know what I got in my house. I'm not telling them
being
I'm
honest.
eating cakes.
Well, I always said there was a bit of a positive to that if we took them on their word. But I do think that it is consumed. And when we look at consumption and we look at snacks and we look at how, even if we walk down the street, what we see in people's hands, we often see the soda or the iced tea, or we see the piece of pizza, or we see something that's a non-nutritive food that is gotten on the run.
So water's the best thing.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
far.
Oh, yes.
So doctor, what feedback do you hear from the parents? Do you hear from kids? Or do you hear from the other professionals? What kind of feedback do you get in this program?
This program is very helpful because, again, it gives a lot of education. And when we start educating parents and kids, it will, in the long run, it will give us very positive effect. Because, again, with juice and water, parents might say, my child doesn't like water. So then, as Nancy mentioned, what we suggest, we put a little bit of juice inside of water just to make it more palatable, more tasty. And kids will go with that. So that they get accustomed to this. And if we teach them all these healthy habits starting from the beginning, from the early age, in the long run, it will give very positive results.
My daughter is 16 and she's yet to have a soda.
It's wonderful.
That
Very
is terrific,
unusual.
isn't it?
That's
Very
amazing.
unusual and
Not have a
wonderful.
soda.
That's
and
amazing.
water is her staple. She doesn't
great.
drink. On occasion she'll have one of those juice packs, but it's
That's
mostly
marvelous.
water. So if you can stay with us, we're going to have to take a break, run some commercials, and then we're going to come back and talk about fast food, which I'm sure that's on everybody's diet as well. Right? Please stay with us after these messages when we're going to be back with the Trinitas Eat Right program.
We're an American original, dependable, historic, nuanced, with all the comforts of home, even when you're just visiting. So we're celebrating for all that we've left untouched and all that we've changed. A place where the past meets the future. So consider this your invitation.
We've been celebrating here in Elizabeth for 350 years, and we're just getting started. Welcome back to our city. Before the break, we were talking about fast food. 23% responded that they ate fast food 3 to 7 times per month. That would be once or twice a week, which is a high amount of fast food, or in some cases, maybe not high enough. Some kids are probably not telling the truth. What can we do to improve that statistic? Fast food places are all over the place.
Well, one of the things we did to address it was we addressed it head on in our education materials, where we recognize a lot of people do eat fast food for a variety of reasons. Convenience, economics, and it's just the idea that it's easy. So one of the things that we did address was to talk about what you order in a fast food restaurant. And we examined the fact that chicken nuggets do not contain any chicken. There's about 37, 39 ingredients, none of which are chicken in a chicken nugget. So just the fact that we educated people.
What's in it?
The mystery. Everything but the chicken. And that is a fact. So what we tried to do is we kind of address the fact that yes, fast food is here to stay for all of us with our busy lives, but there are better choices to make. So in so much as many people do eat fast food once or twice a week, we've guided people along to how to make a better choice. The fast food restaurants do have grilled chicken, they do have salads, even just having a plain hamburger is absolutely fine. What gets people in trouble with fast food,
hamburger.
well, there you go, it's the French fries and the soda. That's where the health issues come up, because the high amount of calories and fat in the fries and then the large sodas. So it's really not so much the hamburger or the grilled chicken, it is really how we're consuming it and how much we're consuming. So we did address that, and I think that if the statistic seems somewhat a little bit low, maybe, I think perhaps people might have pulled back on eating at fast food. They might have said, well, wait a minute, what actually am I spending my money on? Even if it's an economical choice, if it really isn't nutritious, I actually am not saving money because it's my health I'm thinking about.
I hate to do this to you, Nancy, but last week in the city of Elizabeth, we had National Hot Dog Day. And we were selling hot dogs at Tommy's and Jerry's for $1, and we had hundreds of people line up. And they were actually on the show a couple of weeks ago, so it's probably a good thing we didn't put you on the same show, right?
Well, you know what? On a fun day like that, that's great. But when that becomes your everyday habit, that's the question. So we really don't want to take fun out of a summer day, and that's really not ever going to be our message. But what it really is to really being smart about how you spend your dollar, how you value your health, and what you really choose to feed your children.
Doctor, this field is relatively new, right? We have in 60s and 70s, we really didn't concentrate on pediatric eat right. Yeah?
In 60s and 70s probably were more like home cooking. People have more time, life wasn't that busy, and mother stays home and they were cooking. And now fast food, as Nancy mentioned, it also can be as a social occasion when people go out and they want to socialize. But again, even in fast food places, you can find more nutritious and more healthy choices, like salad, like yogurt, hamburger, right? And if you eat hamburger, you might separate it from the
bun?
Yeah, you can do this. And also, let's try not to supersize the drinks. When we were talking about soda, of course it's not healthy.
Well, Mayor Bloomberg tried to ban the supersized drinks. It didn't go over so well.
He wasn't wrong, though.
No, he's not wrong.
He's
I
not
agree.
wrong.
Yeah. They tried to do it in Philadelphia, too.
It's not a wrong idea.
Because occasionally people will drink soda. And we're not saying not drink it at all, because again, we don't take like all the fun out of our life. But if you do it occasionally, if it's not like everyday drink and not everyday like food, like fast food, occasional we can indulge ourselves.
So Nancy said that she said the chicken McNuggets don't have any chicken. Do either one of you know what's in there, or this is still a mystery?
As she mentioned, like 39 ingredients in there.
Yes, it's in the material we gave to the patients
did.
does have that.
Wow. I don't eat them anyway, but I'm just curious what's in the stuff. So Nancy, you also have results from families who come back weeks or months after getting the take-home kits. What are these surveys showing after they get to read the material?
Well, there are a couple of things. After they read the material, they really 50% of them said that I will buy more healthy food. Now, the interesting thing, which we might have to dissect a little bit further, is the interpretation of healthy. Everybody has a different take on what is healthy. So we're starting the conversation, and we're doing it again in an environment of trusted professionals. We're starting the conversation of having people really ask the doctor, ask their clinical coordinator, you know, I'm trying to eat healthy, help me out with this. What do you think is healthy? Or even saying, hey, is this healthy? We want to allow people to start that conversation of learning what to do. So we find that if we say, okay, will you eat healthier foods? Everybody will say, yes, I will. But if we ask, what is a healthy food? You will get very different answers. So sometimes interpretation of what is healthy is not really the fact. So that surprised me a little bit. I was happy to say 50% said they were going to eat more healthy, but just enlarging the conversation on that, I think, is the next step.
So Terry, what kind of feedback do you get on based on what Nancy's just talking about and the changes that that you've observed after the take-home kits?
Well, I think one that comes to mind is family, and one of she has 3 daughters, and one of them was starting to put on a little bit of extra weight. We gave the kit to the family, and I saw her maybe 4 or 5 months later, and my office is the last one before they leave. So she comes into the office and she says, look. So I said, yes. And she says, look, don't I look different? And I certainly could see that she had grown in height, but that she really hadn't grown in weight. So I said, yes, what is it that you're trying to tell me? And she said, I'm drinking more water, I'm eating more vegetables, and I'm eating more fruit. So I thought that was like really interesting.
That's terrific. And she,
yeah, and she was so proud, and the mother also told me that we're doing it as a family, because you need to do it as a family. It just can't be that one child.
So doctor, the reactions of patients, you sit down and talk with some of these patients and you tell them that sugar, the unhealthy sugar, is part of their current diet, and how many foods have sugar in them. Do they sit and look at you with a blank look, or what's their initial reaction?
If they look at us with blank look,
They do, right?
Yeah.
So what do you tell them?
We repeat the message again.
Yeah.
So sometimes message
You
needs
got to
to
tell
be
them twice.
Yes, yes, and we're trying to educate again about like fruits and vegetables. It's like.
Do they get it though? It's at some. I mean, whether they
we-
follow through or not, they understand it.
Yes, we think if we talk about like long enough, you know, they do follow.
Nancy, as a medical nutritionist, you've counseled many families in Elizabeth and surrounding regions. What is your perspective on unhealthy eating habits, and how does it impact kids and teens and adults? I mean, Teresa was talking about doing it as a family, but you see it in all different areas as well.
Well, I think, and a little bit of a follow-up to your previous question, I think one of the biggest misnomers or misconceptions about healthy eating is that people think it's very expensive. People think I can't eat healthy because fruits and vegetables are very expensive. Well, when we look at, say, a price of a bag of Oreos or bag of chips, all of these things are $2, $3, $4, $5, and you're not getting any nutrition. So we really try to help people with saying we can buy fruit in season, we can use frozen vegetables. There are many, many, many ways that we can incorporate healthy food into our diet without it being expensive. But that is a very strong opinion that people have, that it's more expensive to eat healthy, therefore I will eat unhealthy food. Part of the mission, again, with the pediatric clinic is to really make this investment in your health. And my answer to your question about families and teens and children, the goal of this project, together with them seeing it from the groundwork up, is to really change the dynamic of eating at the earliest stage in life, literally to prevent the problem. We all see, and no one is lying, these statistics are amazing of how much obesity there is in this country and how much childhood obesity. I mean, the doctor is seeing more cases of diabetes, more cases of obesity that we ever saw in any generation. So we really need to attack this really preventatively and kind of to get rid of some of the misguided thinking and the old-fashioned way about a large child is a healthy child, or we need to overfeed children. A lot of people still feel that way.
Dr. Nancy raised a good point. There's two types of diabetes, right? One, talk about them, type 1 and type 2. One is directly related to sugar, one
yes,
is not, correct?
Type 2 is directly related to
Type
weight.
2.
Yes, type 2. Yes, and yeah, we see it's like it's a lot of diabetes now in a
You
child.
see more cases of type 2.
Yes, absolutely.
The type 1 is in
Type 1 is
born with it, basically, right?
It's more like in your genetics and
Yeah. And type 2 can be treated if we follow programs like Terry and
yes,
Nancy.
and it can be prevented if you follow a healthy diet and you do exercise. We also need to talk a little bit about exercise, right? Because
Yes,
it's how you
very much.
spend the calories and how you not like put like extra weight. So the better your like health situation, the less probability that you can get diabetes later on in life.
So 69% of the survey eating habits said they would buy healthier foods and drinks. Healthy food choices available, Elizabeth. We talked about this a little bit. Do you think most people know what a healthy food choice is? Do you think, or they only know it after they listen to you folks?
Well, I think Terry's example was outstanding because, again, this person who had success really did take the information of something as simple as fruits and vegetables, which perhaps they never did use in their diet regularly, gave her a positive result. I think more education is needed, and I know there's a lot of initiatives going on, Elizabeth, to try to make corner stores have corner stores have available more options, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, things that people really need but don't have access to get. So a lot of people who do their shopping at corner stores might not have a car. So they only buy what they can carry. So having this food choice available is a very big start. And having somebody interpret the idea that when I do this, I get the result I want. We have to work harder and longer to make that connection, but I do think we're having a start.
Yeah, we have a good start and we just started.
So, doctor, do you think that parents understand an overweight child is also an unhealthy child?
We're trying to make them understand that.
Yeah, they don't get it right away. They don't want to think their child's unhealthy. But you try to drive the point home.
Yes.
Yeah. And so Terry, what do you think the goal will be 5 years from now? How many kids you think you can see and convince? What do you, hundreds?
Oh, absolutely,
You do.
hundreds, yeah, definitely. And I think that we have to keep educating the parents that you are the role model to your children, and your children are going to do what they see you do. So if you buy healthy foods for your family and you consume them, you're teaching them that this is the best way to eat, so that they learn to eat healthier and have healthy outcomes for their future.
Ladies, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on the show this evening. It's been a great educational experience, and I hope the people that are watching it also can share it with their children, because, as you said earlier, this is a whole family commitment. So thank you for your work, Nancy. Dr. Summerlin, thank you. And Teresa, thank you for your work as well.
Thank you so much, Mayor.
I want to thank the folks at the Trinitas Eat Right program for the Pediatric Health Center. And I'm Chris Bolwage, and we'll see you next week on another edition of Our City.
Offering everything you could want from college, including a life. Kane University.